feeling when you're posting on social, you're writing emails, and honestly, you're trying every single marketing trick that you've heard, you've read about, you've been seeing work online, but nothing seems to work for you? If your digital marketing feels like a chaotic mess, or you're just stuck creating content that doesn't convert, this episode is going to change everything. This episode is brought to you by Metricool. From planning to publishing to understanding what's actually working, Metricool gives you data-driven control. And with their built-in AI tools and competitor tracking, you'll stop guessing and start growing. Just click the link in the show notes for 30 free days of premium access and make sure to use the code Katie30. All right, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. And today's episode is going to be packed with some practical insights that you are going to be able to use this summer that's going to make a difference in your marketing strategy. My guest is Neal Schaffer. He is a fractional CMO, an international keynote speaker, and a university educator who helps businesses DIY digital marketing and leverage AI to save money and grow smarter. He's also the author of the book Digital Threads, and it's a book that dives deep into the strategy that connects all of your digital marketing efforts into making a bigger impact. But today we're going beyond the book. We're talking about how you can actually stop feeling overwhelmed by digital marketing, how to use AI smartly without losing your brand voice, and honestly, how to create a strategy that does not just add to your to-do list. It's about working smarter, not harder. So Neal, thank you so much for joining me on Rocky Mountain Marketing today.
Oh, thank you for the invite, Katie. It's an absolute honor to be here. And I can't wait to see what comes out of our conversation and how it can help people.
Well, this has been an interview, I feel, that's been on the books for years. Like we've been talking about doing it. And then finally I don't even know what happened. Like finally, like, wait, we've never actually had the interview. So let's do it. So I'm so glad that we were able to finally connect and get you on the show. And I think that, one of the reasons why I'm so excited to talk to you is because so many entrepreneurs that I talk to are overwhelmed by digital marketing, and they're trying to do Instagram, they're trying to do LinkedIn, they're trying to do the email. Now they're having to do video, and I'm telling them all that they need to have their own podcast, but nothing seems to work together. So why do you think that this is such a common problem?
Yeah, well, first of all, Katie, you and I have both been doing this for a long time, and I appreciate and respect that you have also built your own methodology, right? The social shift methodology. So even we, people that have been entrenched and get paid for giving this advice, we're also creating methodologies, giving advice. And as you said in your teaser, there's a lot of different advice out there. Does it apply to you or not? And not all of it does.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be very honest, right? So, when I wrote Digital Threads, and I wrote it for a specific reason during COVID, right at the beginning of COVID, I published a book called The Age of Influence, which was about influencer marketing. So COVID starts, book publishes March 2020, great timing. And all of a sudden these businesses are reaching out to me, thinking that influencer marketing is going to solve their problems. But when I dug deeper into their digital footprint, I realized that, based on what they wanted to achieve, maybe that is not the best solution, right? It's like going to the doctor and saying, I need to do a podcast. And doctor said, well, wait, let's take a step back. Why do you feel that way? What are you trying to achieve? And it really gets back to those basics. And I found that a lot of businesses would find the latest shiny tool, whether it be TikTok or influencer marketing. And Katie, we've seen them. We've seen the Google Plus, Clubhouse. I mean, we laugh about all these now. So you can go down a lot of dead end streets, or streets that seem effective, and maybe they were effective at the time. And even when you listen to this podcast, and even my own podcast, there is an expiration date on some content. Some is evergreen, and some you just got to make sure it's still relevant. I wrote Digital Threads to try to make a very relevant, regardless of what changes, a very, very relevant framework. And the framework really starts just getting in the heart of it with this. I call it the SES framework. And it really started with me, looking at, because Katie, you and I, we both come more from the social media marketing side than the digital marketing side. And I really got deeper into digital after COVID, right? When these companies started coming out to me, I realized, well, do you even have an email list? Are you doing SEO? So I took this new approach to looking at these old digital marketing tactics, strategies that people have been talking about for a while, and trying to breathe some new life into them. So I first said, okay, with digital marketing, what can you do? Let's stop the overwhelm. And so I first created these 6 containers. Like everything you can do in digital is one of these 6 things. And the first thing is the easiest. It's a website. So we all have a website, but sometimes the website needs a little bit more TLC, right? Is it saying the right things to potential customers? Is it converting people? Or is your funnel leaking? And that's a whole other CRO side that we're not going to talk about, but that's the website side. And then you have search engines, and that's SEO or pay-per-click. You have email marketing, sometimes marketing automation. You have blogs, which is content marketing, which actually feeds, content feeds all these other sort of containers. And then you have social media marketing, organic and paid. And then I consider influencer marketing, really getting earned media, getting people to talk about you on social. That's almost its own separate container. So, but then I further simplified it, Katie, and I know people might be overwhelmed already with all these choices. I further simplified to go, hey, it all comes down to SES, search, email, social. So search is this bucket of discoverability, right? People don't know you. And it's funny, Katie, we're both authors, but people that know us already bought our book. We're trying to reach the people that don't know us, right?
Yeah.
How do we do that? So we need to be discoverable. And Google is a big search engine. Well, guess what? ChatGPT is an emerging search engine, right? A TikTok is a search engine for Gen Z. YouTube is a search engine. I've been hired from my podcast, so podcasting, but it's evergreen content in most cases that allows you to be discovered, right? So you need content, and that Instagram post that has a shelf life of 24 hours, or even a LinkedIn post that has a very, very short, or a tweet, these things sort of come and go. And it's really, really hard to be discovered just from one single post. So you end up having to do a lot, and that eats up time, right? So if you begin with, and I always begin with that first S, which is the search, you need to become discoverable, you need content. The E is you need to have a direct line of communication. That's the email side, right? You have to own that, because you can't rely on algorithms in search or in social. When you have something important to say, when you need to get in touch with someone, email is the only asset you truly own. And I know we keep talking about this and people still need to be reminded, and hey, maybe for some it's SMS, maybe for some it's DM, but it's the same concept of direct one-on-one communication. And then we have the social side, and I have a lot of views on social, but I am of, if you're an entrepreneur, then your personal brand matters more than ever. Your human voice matters more than ever. You got to be out there, and it should be a natural extension of you. And if it's not, we need to take a look back as to why that's the case. But I find for a lot of businesses that it's really, they spend a lot of time, but they make very, very little impact. So when I talk to businesses, and Katie, I'm assuming you've talked about this on the show, but if not, I talk about UGC, user generated content. And it's like, hey, let that do the talking for you. Let that be as 100% of your content as you can make it. I mean, that's really what I encourage my customers. It's like, hey, how do we transition from 100% branded content to get more word of mouth into your feed? And there's a lot of different things you can do, but that's really been my focus, because if you can get people talking about you, right, you can start to build a brand community.
Yeah.
And once you build a brand community, you can then, it becomes more of an incentive and more interesting that external influencers or people that don't know, like, and trust your brand might want to join forces with you. And then you begin to get real amplification for what you're doing. So those are sort of the three buckets that I look at, but I always start with the discoverability. In Digital Threads, I talk about a library of content, and it's an SEO focus, but it's also a large language model focus, that you need content to get discovered in AI as well. And guess what? If you have content you've developed, you can repurpose that into other assets, whether they be, paid or organic assets. But it really begins with having a distinct library of content around whatever you're an authority in, and from their building. I know we can go a lot of different directions and we don't have that much time, but that's sort of the overview of how to stop the overwhelm and really begin to go, okay, what is my discoverability strategy? What am I doing with email, right? Do I have lead magnets set up? Do I have regular communication going on that's building trust, right? Am I using marketing automation to my benefit? Like, what does my welcome sequence look like? All these things. And then the social side might be the biggest sort of reset, whether you're an entrepreneur that hasn't leaned enough into your personal brand or hasn't developed it enough to make impact in social, or you're a business, still trying to create an Instagram post a day, not see much engagement, and wondering, why am I wasting my time? But you have to be on social. And that's, this other thing related to this is what I call, and I talk about it in the book, but I'm just giving you like the short summary, believe it or not, of a 300-page book. I call it the funnel of digital relationships, right? So if you look at the funnel, you have the public, and then if someone follows you, joins your list, they become a potential prospect. And then when they become a customer, and then hopefully they become an advocate, right? And search engines, that search, it helps you become discoverable at the top of the funnel. Email brings them closer to becoming a customer, but social works on all levels. right? So social ROI is really hard to calculate because you need it. It's going to help you become discoverable, help you keep in touch, help you, with support your customers and celebrate them, hopefully. And also social is the number one place for advocacy. So yes, you still need to be on Instagram or wherever your customer is. We just need to figure out a different way where it makes the best use of your time and you make the biggest impact. So I'll stop there, Katie. I know that was a lot.
Well, no, and I think that Neal, your SES framework, I have my 4-post strategy. There's a lot of different frameworks out there. And this is one of the reasons why I want to have you come on the show, is because my 4-post strategy might not be the best solution for business owner A, and I think that this is where the most important thing as a business owner, when you decide that you want to have a digital marketing strategy, it needs to just be that. It needs to be a strategy. Anyone can post on social media. Anyone can send out an email, but what's the why behind it? And making sure that you have a strategy that you have in place so that it can be implemented. You know what the next step of the process is, the why behind it. That is what's going to help you as a business owner find success online, because there's so many businesses out there. There's so many, us all battling for a spot in the algorithm. And
Totally.
now with AI, AI, it's a game changer, but it's helped me tremendously. And I know that maybe a lot of small business owners might be feeling intimidated by AI, or worse, it just feels like they're going to end up with robotic content. Like, oh, I've tried doing, AI and I've ended up with a whole bunch of emojis diving into treasure troves. Let's talk about AI for a little bit. How do you recommend using AI in a way that actually adds value?
Wow. Yeah, I have been going really deep in AI. I haven't really talked a lot about it. And when I published Digital Threads, which was October of last year, I was just basically saying, hey, what is your content creation process? And then let's look at how AI fits. But before that, I wanted to make another comment about the strategy. So I also, teach executive education, digital marketing strategy, what have you. And often the final project is to create a strategy. And it's like, hey, you have to be detailed enough in your strategies that you can hand this off to someone and they know exactly what to do. So if you're a business owner and you want to delegate it, like you want to hire Katie's, agency to do it for you, or you want to hire someone, or you want to bring in an intern, you need to have like a documented SOP as to what you're trying to achieve. And that's really the most important thing. I've found business owners that have just, given the keys to their kingdom away. They have a company they're paying money for that's doing things that really aren't aligned with what they want happening. They don't want to be seen that way on social. Well, you need to start with a strategy. So I'll get off the pedestal and stop there.
I'm on that soapbox with you, Neal. Like,
Yeah,
strategy is everything. Anyone can post on social media. Yes, your teenage daughter can do your social media for your company, but is there a strategy behind it? So yeah, anyway, continue.
exactly. So in the book, it's like, hey, content creation process, map that out, and then where would AI fit? Where could AI add value? And really, like you, Katie, probably like every day I'm on ChatGPT for a lot of things. For instance, and I think, and it's funny because, one of the podcasts, I'm a big podcast listener, is AI Explorer with Michael Stelzner. Great podcast if you want to get exposed to AI. I feel with AI, just there's some people that are a little bit further advanced than us. But once you understand the way they use it, a light bulb should go on, I should say. And it should be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I could use it that way. So for instance, right, I'll give you a really good example. I have a ChatGPT app on my phone, and I was at the I was at the liquor store. I wanted to get a bottle of red wine, and it's a liquor store that only carries sort of like cheap and old wine. It's a really funky small business that I want to support. So I wanted a Pinot Noir, and there were only 4 available that had a twist off top. And I hate the corkscrew. I like the twist off, very convenient. Okay, so they're like $11.99 and $19.99. I'm in ChatGPT. Now I could have taken a picture of the labels, but I'm like, hey, here are 4 wines. Go out, look at the online reviews. Let me know which of these would you recommend for its Pinot. And it came back with an answer. It's like, well, Wine Spectator only reviewed 2 of these, and of the 2, this has been the top rating. Perfect. Right? Done. $13.99. It was actually cheaper than some of the more expensive ones. Now I could have done the research myself, but ChatGPT, like it's something non-critical. I could have done the research. I could open up 10 tabs and look for the perfect one, but it's good enough. And it's funny because I had an SEO expert on my podcast like 3 years ago before ChatGPT saying, you know what, we're going to see new search engines come up. And guess what? If you search for something on Amazon without going to Google, it's good enough. If you search for something on Safari and it's not Google, it's good enough. People just need good enough. So I begin there because using ChatGPT for ideas is really where you want to start. right? And whether it is doing a search and finding, wow, this saved me a lot of time doing research, or just looking for ideas. And in fact, one of the best ways to use ChatGPT is just say, hey, this is my business. This is like my biggest pain point. What advice do you have that can help me? And believe it or not, like I don't know my target audience. Well, you can go through a series of questions where ChatGPT will help you define that target, for instance, right?
Mhm.
So on just so many levels, there's so many different ways to use it. But I think it just begins with actually finding a use case scenario, whether it be personal or whether it be for business, just trying to find answers to problems that you would have gotten to Google for. I would start with a ChatGPT. I would pay the $20 a month to get the most advanced models. I would turn off the sharing of information so that you're not sharing confidential company information. And that's really the starting point, because I can tell you, I mean, let me see if I can find it right here. You're going to get a laugh about this.
While you're looking, I want to say, the fact of just opening up ChatGPT and getting used to talking to it regularly, I think that was a big difference maker for me. And I talk to it when I'm brainstorming, just saying like, hey, so I actually just got off a call, a potential sales call, and this was kind of some of the objections. I kind of felt like there was a weird energy once this happened, or anything. I just kind of tell it what happened and say, just listen. And I just tell it to listen and remember this. And then that way, when I come back later and say, hey, so I'm getting ready to do another sales call, what advice would you give me? And it remembers past conversations where there was objection. I mean, like all of that. I mean, heck, I even used ChatGPT this morning to make dinner in the crock pot because we're going to have a busy day. We got softball and soccer and everything else. And I was like, look, this is what I got in the fridge. Help me make dinner. And it did. And then, so, I mean, like, this is where just get used to talking to AI. But okay, let's see if you found what you were looking
No,
for.
I did. Well, no, exactly. It's almost like the first days of the internet. Like, wait, you don't read a newspaper? You get your news from searching? Like, how do you do that? Like, we're all 5 years from now, we're going to laugh at these conversations.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're all going to have it figured out, but because we will all be using it in various ways in our life. And it's going to become more embedded into everything we use, as it's already started to be. But yeah, no, absolutely. There are salespeople who are doing that exact same thing. They're creating, AI avatars of their
Mhm.
target customers, of different people in the room that they're going to have a conversation with, and they're uploading their proposal, and they're saying, hey, what feedback would this person give me based on this proposal? What objections could they bring up? Then how should I respond? They're doing all that in advance.
Yeah.
And not everybody, only the savviest, but this is becoming very commonplace. So this is my weekly editorial calendar for LinkedIn. So if we look at it, it has day of the week, it has format, because there's many different formats on LinkedIn, probably more than any other platform. There's a primary focus, which is sort of the content pillar or bucket, and then the content style or topic. And this is honed because I'm uploading all of my analytics and all my posts to a custom GPT, where I'm having a conversation every Friday, week by week. I'm reporting back to it on my latest analytics, and then I'm getting recommendations, right? And that's, my podcast. And I'll give you another example. So, hey, these are according to, I used to use SparkToro, but there's an app I use called Raphonic, and it gives you other information, like people that listen to your podcast, what other podcasts I listen to. I'm like, hey, here are like podcasts that my listeners listen to. Here are my latest 50 episodes. And here are my top 10 downloaded episodes with download numbers in descending order. What content gaps are there between my competitors' podcasts and maybe what I haven't talked about? Or maybe according to the promise that I have to my listener and being your digital marketing coach, what content gaps do I have? Or based on successes, what am I missing, right? And it'll give me, like, right now, like I do half solo, half interview. My solo episode ideas 100% come from that conversation now. And for the most part, those have been home runs. It's introduced, and it's fun because now there's still creativity involved, but getting those ideas, it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked about that. That'd be a great idea. I'd have a lot of fun with that. And let me run with that. So that's just another. I throw out these examples because I also, from listening to examples, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could do that. I'm
Yeah.
hiring someone on Upwork, right? What questions did I ask them? Here are the answers. How should I respond? It is a virtual recruiting agent for me, right? So I find that I'm actually using a lot of time. AI does not reduce time necessarily, but it's helping me improve the quality of everything I do. I feel like I'm running on like full cylinders right now. And so those are just some ideas, and those are specific to like LinkedIn marketing. We could do that across, anything, but it's for ideation, right? Have a conversation with it, get ideas. It is for analysis, right? Like, okay, here's 30 days of Instagram insights. Tell me, what should I be doubling down on? even if I'm only getting 3 likes versus 1 like, right? Let's have a data-driven strategy there in terms of the content. And then in between there, and these are like the 3 big use case scenarios, you actually have the content creation, right? And this is where you really want to tell ChatGPT, and this is why I do this last, because you want ChatGPT to know who you are, what your voice is, right? What is your natural tone of speaking, which it'll get from your conversations with it, who your target customers are, what are their psychographics, right? What does that persona look like? Because then anytime you create something in ChatGPT, it's going to be fine-tuned to who you are and who your target customer is. And then you will stop getting, and I want to show you something else. You're going to get a laugh about this because I'm creating this presentation. I'm just going to bring this up really fast. I'm creating this conversation. If I was to summarize it in terms of content creation, let me share the screen, entire screen. And I don't know if this is going on in video or not, but you'll love this.
Yes.
Here we go.
So everyone that's not watching this over on YouTube, make sure you go watch this on YouTube.
Okay. ChatGPT should be a conversation partner, not a vending machine of generic replies from generic ChatGPT prompts that you found on a blog post or in an ebook, right? This really summarizes everything. And I think at the beginning, we all started this way, but over time, we're getting smarter. And the quicker you get at understanding that and really making the ChatGPT responses really unique to you, and giving it more data, like, hey, these are my most successful blog posts or Instagram posts or LinkedIn posts, right? That it's only going to help you get a fine-tuned response, which you still need to edit, but it's going to get a lot closer to something that you might have actually done. So ideation / research, analysis, and then certain types of content creation. The shorter the content, the easier it is, I think, to use. When you get the long form content, it can get really tricky. And I think we all are using AI more so we can quickly sense that maybe this content was AI generated. If you're not including your own personal stories in that content, right, and personal experiences, then anybody could have created it and there's no value. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. And maybe, Katie, you've come to similar conclusions and maybe different ones, but that's what I've realized.
Yeah, the more that you talk to AI, the better understanding it will get for you, your voice, your objectives, and how to better help you. And it will be way less generic. I love that graphic that you made. That's really great.
By the way, that was developed. That graphic was a single prompt in ChatGPT. So the ChatGPT 4.0, the image, I never liked Midjourney because I hate the whole Discord thing. I never liked DALL-E. I don't want to spend hours trying to create an image, right? I'd rather like hire someone on Upwork and do that for me in an hour. But ChatGPT 4, the image creation is amazing. It got that on a single prompt. It doesn't always. So after a few prompts, if it doesn't get it, I'm going to hand it off to someone. But I'm finding more and more on a single prompt, it's getting it right. And the text generation is a lot more accurate than it used to be. So that's another way to start using it too.
Yeah. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to make sure that this is super actionable for our listeners. So if someone's listening right now and they feel like their marketing is super scattered, they're willing to start using more AI, like where should they start to build a more connected strategic system? Where would you guide them?
Yeah, well, I'd have them read Digital Threads, but outside, and I don't want to be self-promotional, but I would start with that SES framework. Like, what are we doing to become discovered? What are we doing for email? What are we doing for social? And I find that a lot of small businesses, especially those that follow us, Katie, they follow us from social media. So everything is just social media and they neglect the other two. And you really need all three to work in unison. So find the one that you've been neglecting. Maybe it's email, right? Find the one you've been neglecting and give it a little bit of TLC. Take a step back and you can use ChatGPT. It's not, it's going to give you generic responses from all of its sources on the internet. So good luck with that. But at least it'll hopefully give you some ideas of ways like, hey, I feel like I've been neglecting this part. What can I do to further improve that? I would literally use, it's funny, I have a fractional CMO client and he's a CEO trying to sell to other CEOs. And so he sent me like a LinkedIn newsletter blog post that he wanted to post. It was very stream of consciousness, which is awesome. But it's like, well, if we're targeting CEOs, we might want to better align some of the language or give some of our experiences. And this is advice that I got from ChatGPT because I know ChatGPT well enough to say, hey, here's some content. And I was upfront with my client, right? That I know ChatGPT well enough, and you should also get in the habit of checking with ChatGPT as well before you send that content to me, because it's only going to be better with every iteration. So that is another great place to start. Like, find a use case scenario for ChatGPT today that you didn't have yesterday after listening to this episode, ideally, connected to that SCS pick one of those and start there. And hopefully that's going to start your journey so that when you go back and listen to this episode again, you'll be nodding your head. Now I get what Katie was saying. Now I get when you, and then you don't need to like pay money for courses or buy lots of books. It does become very natural. Remember ChatGPT, it's like when you bring your baby home from the hospital, it's like, where's the instructions manual? There isn't. It's natural, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT was the same. It's just a single prompt, right? There's no rules or guide, but you figure it out really quickly once you begin to use it. And that's really the best advice. As my Gen Z daughter would say, it's not too deep, or it's not that deep. And I would have to agree. It's just a matter of finding the use case scenario and using your imagination and creativity to find more ways to use it. And then obviously having critical thinking skills to be able to go, you know what, that sounds really generic, or I don't, that sounds like a hallucination. I don't like that advice. So go with your heart in those cases. Do not go 100% according to what it tells you. But hey, if you don't know what to cook and you have some ingredients, it'll cook up a recipe for you. If you don't know what wine to buy, those are some easy use case scenarios you can get started on today for sure.
For real. Well, and Neal, I know we mentioned your book, Digital Threads, a few times. If people want to connect with you or grab a copy of the book, where's the best place for listeners to do that?
Yeah, well, nealschaffer.com/books is where I have free previews to all my books. Obviously, it's available on Amazon. It's going to be Kindle Unlimited pretty soon. I've decided instead of going wide, I'm really going to focus on the Amazon ecosystem. So if you're on Amazon, you could already find it there. Audiobook, I narrated myself as well, if that's your thing. And then I also have a podcast called Your Digital Marketing Coach, where, well, now ChatGPT helps me hone in on the podcast episodes that you'd find most interesting. So hopefully you'll check that out as well.
Awesome. Well, and if you're listening, don't let this episode be another, okay, that was great. You hear it, you forget it. Take a look at what you're doing with your own digital marketing. Are your efforts connected? What is the bigger picture? Are you just doing random acts of content right now? It is time to get strategic. It's a good time to take a step back. Neal's approach is a great place to start. And I want you to take 5 minutes at the end of today's episode here and just list out all the places that you're creating content. Ask yourself, how do they connect? Do they lead to your main business goal? That is the very first step to creating a digital strategy for your business. So, Neal, thank you again for joining me on Rocky Mountain Marketing.
Oh, it's been an honor, Katie. Thank you for doing what you do. And hopefully everyone will keep listening to Katie's advice. And I know that sounded very Zen-like, but bang on. Like, take a step back today. And yes, does everything you do feed into that overall goal? And if it doesn't, it's time to ask some more questions and figure it out.
Amazing. Well, thanks again, Neal.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.